Hi babe, welcome. I was looking for Christmas inspired type of shapes. I saw snowflakes and this is the only braid I saw on it. That braid was by November Love on Instagram. I decided to recreate it and this is what it came out looking like. It looks like a snowflakes on your hair and the design is just gorgeous. But I will tell you, if you want to get your design looking as good as this or better, you really have to pay attention. This thing was intense for me to create. Like, I kept trying and retrying. So I made a circle and shared it into two equal parts. Now each of these parts will be shared into three. I just used my finger to have an idea of where the size should be. So each half of the circles I am going to share into three equal parts. That made it easier for me to have 6 equal parts. Remember the snowflake I attached at the beginning, it had 6 parts and I just wanted to recreate that, so 6 of them. Now the next step will be to cut like the shape of a triangle away from each of those parts. So on every single line you're going to chop off a triangle from the left and a triangle from the right. At the end of the day, when you join those two triangles together, they will look like the shape of a kite. I don't know what the shape of a kite is, but just like this. Now we are going to braid this into the middle. So for each line that you have that helped us to create that 6 parts, on the left hand side you cut off a triangle, on the right hand side you cut off a triangle, then you hold them together and braid it down. It's going to be like a kite, just like this. So we are going to repeat this again on the next line. So we chop off a triangular shape, keep the rest away, and then on the left hand side we also chop off a triangular shape. So joining them together, I braided them down. At the point I was trying to do like stitch braids because I felt like it's going to take this design to the next level, but I just decided against it because I wasn't ready to start adding shine and jam on my mannequin head, and then like before I make my next design I'll have to wash it because I want to do a lot of Christmas inspired hairstyles this season, so just look out for them. So this is the third one, our third kite. We have to continue all the way. Now what you start to notice is that the shape in between the kites, the hair remaining there is having like a Y shape, like the letter Y. So you will see when we are done, and I'm going to show it very well. So these are a kite also. Braid it into the middle. You can braid it all the way because this part is done. Its part is done, so I braided it all the way. So can you see the Y shape in between those kites? You're going to have like a letter Y, so it's wide on the outer part, and then once it tapers towards the center of the circle it becomes thin or like smaller. So it's wide on the outside, and then you can see that my kite doesn't start from the beginning of the circle. So when making that your triangle shape, don't get all the way to the tip, like to the outer edge of the circle. Just leave a little space. See, when I hold it together, the remaining hair covers all the kites. Can you see that? So when making the triangle for your kite, don't go all the way to the center of the circle. Now for each of those letter Y in the middle, we are going to share into 3, and in sharing it into 3 you're going to notice that you cut off like the ending part of letter Y on one side, ending part of letter Y on the other side, and then the middle part is going to be straight down. Now on each of those 3 parts we are going to make like a triangle on top of them before we start braiding. That is what is going to give the snowflakes like those jagged zigzag ending. So before you braid each of those 3, you make the triangle on top and braid it down. Also you have to braid the 2 sides first, so that when you braid the middle one you can then incorporate the 2 sides into the middle one, just like this. So now I have to make the jagged end of the of this second part up and down like a triangle, and then braid it down. Like just braid it up to where it stops. It is going to cut off at some point because that section doesn't run all the way down the middle of the letter Y, so just stop it where it stops. Now I'm making the jagged end for the middle one. Then once I start braiding this, when I get to where the left and the right braid met this middle one, I will just incorporate it and braid everything down. Please, if you're confused, just watch. By the time you watch the second time and the third time, I promise you're going to get it. And if you can pull this off, it looks like Christmas. So please just be patient. So you can see when I braid and get to where those ones joined in, I just braided it all the way down, and it's like that spear that Aquaman carries. Is that a spear? Like that fork looking spear. Please do not add, the kites we made previously, we are done with those ones. Don't add them into your braid. So for each of those triangles, we are going to have 6 of these. 6 of these funny shape is going to make up our snowflakes. So let's move over to the next letter, Y, unbraided Y. So I cut off the 2 ends again. One, shift. Of course, you have to try to make it as neat as you can. The second side, shift. Next, I add the jagged end of each of them before I braid. So adding the triangle on top of this first one, just to continue the zigzag outer part. So try to make it look as nice as you can. If you don't get the shape, you're going to feel as if something is wrong, and then you can fix it up. So I braid the first one. Once it gets to where it terminates into the body of the middle part, you stop. Now I am going to also make the jagged end by making a triangle on top of the second part to continue my zigzag. Don't do that to your dummy hair. That can ruin your hair. You know how painful this is if you try it on a human hair. Just take off the clip. Please don't be lazy like me. That's going to just ruin your hair faster. Anyway, I then proceeded to braid it down until it gets to the middle part and stop. I apologize, it's like 2:30 a.m. in my country at this moment. So I repeat the same for the middle part, braid it down the middle. When it gets to where those two are, I will incorporate it into the middle one and braid all the way down. Don't add too early. If you add too early, you're going to have a curved end. So that was why I changed my mind and dropped that. You have to get to where the braid, and still, can you see that braid is still curved? I should have waited like the next plate circle to add it. So that's why it's crooked a little bit on top of there. But it's Christmas, it's the holidays. We are going to enjoy the imperfections. So this is the second one. At this point, I am just going to let you watch so that you grab onto the rhythm very well. So just chop off the 2 ends of letter Y, add a zigzag, not a zigzag, add a triangle on top to have that zigzag effect. Braid the left, stop, braid the right, stop, braid the middle, incorporate the left and the right. So at this point, I am just going to let you watch, because I promise you, watch for a while, you will get the rhythm if you haven't already. So while I let you watch, let me just tell you a little about myself. So I always knew how to make hair growing up. I grew up in a part of Nigeria where, making hair, like kids that are from like 6, 7, 8, 9, we were just used to like playing with dolls. And there's this way we used to lick the mango fruit and let the fibers on the body remain. Then we would keep it, like wash it, dry it under the sun, and then use comb to brush those dry fibers in a way that it looks like hair. then we would braid on it and just like make it look like a doll's hair. From there we would braid our friends' hairs. As you know, like before you get to 10 years, you have an idea of how to braid just from playing with dolls or playing with your friends. So that was how I had my initial idea of how to braid. And then when you get to like after elementary school into your first time in secondary school, that's high school, you just, never taking it seriously, never thinking too much about it. I just knew how to, like, you would braid for your friends. It's not as if we even put in effort. We don't like put in effort and try to make the best hair. We are just used to whipping out the school hairstyles like carefreely and just jokingly, and somehow it stuck. I was just a little bit better than usual for like when my interest was there, so I put in more effort. And then, well, I don't know how to explain it, but somehow my future knew I was going to be a hairstylist at some point, but I never knew, and I never consciously worked towards it. I just bended towards something that interested me. Even while still doing other things, I was still making out, like somehow gravitating towards making hair and then back. I never thought for one day that I would own a salon. And I never thought I would be teaching on YouTube how to make braid design. This is fun for me, so I appreciate you watching. So thank you. And somehow, like when I get comments of people that value my video and get helpful things from it, it's oh, so that is why it all makes sense. Like last it all makes sense, and that has just been like, it has cemented my belief that in life, last everything is going to make sense. Don't fight change too much, and when you find yourself gravitating towards something that you enjoy, maybe you should pay attention. Seriously. If it wasn't for like the set standard of like forcing kids to go to school and study this, if I had my way and there was like an easy cosmetology school like in Nigeria that I could have attended, I would have excelled in this field. Like, but I never thought of it. Like, you cannot aspire to grow up and be a hairstylist where I'm from. Like, are you mad? Are you mad? What is wrong? Like, what about doctor? Being a doctor and nurses and engineers and pharmacists? Like, why will you? But see where we are today, and we are living a happy life. So please leave a thumbs up. I made this design for one of those lemonade braided style side. I have lots of them on my channel. You can check them out. It's snowing. Fake snow. Thank you for watching. Bye.